Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. Last autumn, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Climate Prediction Center predicted a warm, dry winter for Arizona. But the exact opposite occurred. They had record-setting snow at the Grand Canyon, delaying the opening. Normally, the North Rim is open by May, but this year they couldn't open up until June because there was too much snow. Climate models are academic toys which are of no value in the real world, yet they get used for climate policy all the time. The top of the Grand Canyon gets a lot of snow, but at the bottom it is much warmer. Google AI explains that the difference in temperature between the top and bottom of the Grand Canyon is largely due to air compression. As air sinks to a lower elevation, it compresses and releases heat as energy. The typical temperature difference between the rim of the Grand Canyon and the river is between 15 and 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Carl Sagan said, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence," but unfortunately he didn't always follow his own advice. 60 years ago, a young scientist named Carl Sagan proposed that the known high concentration of carbon dioxide in Venus' atmosphere created a runaway greenhouse effect, leading to extremely high temperatures at the surface. This is what Google AI says. Venus has the thickest atmosphere of all the terrestrial planets. The pressure at the surface of Venus is 90 times that of Earth's, which is equal to the pressure half a mile down in the ocean. The thick atmosphere traps the sun's heat, creating a greenhouse effect that keeps the surface of Venus at a scorching 480 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately for Google AI, this contradicts what it just told us about the Grand Canyon. They told us that the bottom of the Grand Canyon was hot because of air compression. As air sinks to a lower elevation, it compresses and releases heat as energy. If we look at the temperature profile in Venus' troposphere, we can see that there's a linear increase in temperature as we drop in elevation. At Venus' surface, the temperature is over 700 degrees Kelvin. We can predict the temperature at any location in Venus' troposphere based strictly on its altitude. The gain in temperature per kilometer is known as the lapse rate, and the lapse rate on Venus is very similar to the lapse rate on Earth. This is despite the fact that Earth's atmosphere has a very different composition from Venus. Venus' atmosphere is 95% CO2, and on Earth the percentage of CO2 is much less than 1%. We can predict from the lapse rate that if Earth's troposphere was as thick as that on Venus, temperatures at Earth's surface would be similar to the very high temperatures on Venus. We can conclude from that the high temperatures on the surface of Venus have nothing to do with atmospheric composition. We can predict the temperature based strictly on the thickness of the troposphere, and it is independent of atmospheric composition. Google AI and Carl Sagan both made this incorrect statement that the thick atmosphere traps the sun's heat, creating a greenhouse effect. But if Google AI would listen to Google AI, they would know that the high temperatures at the surface of Venus are due to air compression. If Earth's troposphere was as thick as the troposphere on Venus, temperatures at Earth's surface would be almost as hot. Nighttime on Venus is very long. It lasts for almost 3,000 hours. Yet the temperature at night on Venus does not drop significantly. Google AI claimed that the thick atmosphere of Venus traps the sun's heat, but for thousands of hours at a time, half of the surface of Venus is receiving no solar energy. The greenhouse effect requires sunlight, so the high temperatures at night on Venus can't possibly be due to the greenhouse effect. And Carl Sagan should have listened to Carl Sagan when he said, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." He made this ridiculous claim about a runaway greenhouse effect on Venus 60 years ago, which has plagued humanity ever since. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on the climate scam for more than 15 years. You can visit him and his family on the web for Christmas at realclimatescience.com.